Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of It's All Related. I'm Sonia Choquette, here with my daughter, Sonia Tully in New Orleans. I'm here in rainy London, and we're going to talk about all things intuitive, creative, and living your spirit. Hi, Son.
Hi, Mom. How's your spirit today?
Well, it's feeling rather heavy. It's been a good 40 days straight of rain and very little sun. And normally that stuff doesn't affect me. But today I am feeling it because I was walking back from a short walk and got caught in a deluge. And it was just like one soak too many. So I'm ready for some sun, which I'll be going to tomorrow in Dubai. How's things in lovely sunny New Orleans?
Oh my goodness. Well, right now it's also rainy and gray, which I don't mind. But New Orleans right now is alive. We are approaching our final stretch before Mardi Gras, and you can feel the energy intensify. I also live in a place called what's called in New Orleans, the Box. All the parades line up on all the major streets around me. So you really have to be prepared. Like, do you have your water? Do you have your your food? Do you have your snacks? Because you truly cannot get in and out. Just Saturday, my bestie Paulina hosted a craft afternoon at her venue, Gaza Gaza. And I went and was crafting my very first Mardi Gras headpiece. I had a great time. We drove home and got locked out of what we call the Box. So I had to park about a mile and a half away. And at first I was really frustrated. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. And when I got out of the car, I found a parking spot. Thank you, parking angels. Truly, truly, truly. And started walking. And at first I was annoyed. And then as I walked, I saw all the dance troops and all of the floats lined up and all of the people. And I just had a moment of laughing at myself because it was a moment of perspective. I could be frustrated, or I could shift my attention and be like, thank you, spirit guides, for this creative walk. So it's been a mix, but fun.
Well, what's so wonderful is that you're exposed in New Orleans. What makes it so special is that it does prioritize things of the spirit, art, music, community gathering, things of the senses, good food, good, connection. And so there are places on the planet that really stick out for us. And that is one of them, where living the spirit is a priority, not something you do on vacation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I find is being in that vibration, it inspires my own creativity, my own desire to create community. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing to be in that energy. Because for myself, for a very long time, I did not see myself as an artist. I did not see myself as creative. That came from this inner child wound of going to French school. And I find that happens a lot with my clients and that I work with. And I'm curious about the saying that they're like, I'm not that creative, or I'm not an artist, or that's for other people and not for me.
That is a theme that I feel is a consequence of very literal, linear, hyper academic, intellectual emphasis, which is fine. But we're coming, thank God, out of that period where where the things that are of the spirit have been basically sequestered to the select elite few from art school who get approved of along the way.
Right.
And I think that people need to know that one of the ways in which to activate your intuition, if you feel like you're not checking in with it or not feeling it, is to do something creative and not let those creative monsters live in your head that attack or criticize or condemn. Because, first of all, think of it like Picasso. Okay, it's subjective. For some, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he is considered one of the most creative humans that's ever lived. And people in his contemporaries didn't think him very creative.
Right. They're like, what is this?
Or Van Gogh.
A 5-year-old could do it.
And Van Gogh, he was another one. His work was not celebrated until well after he was gone. And it made him depressed. But look at how many of us are completely inspired by what he's done and the colors and the things he's done. So I think that we're entering this year of the fire horse, that one of the resets we can do is decide to take your creativity back and not let
Absolutely.
it be subject to other people's approval. And especially poopy diaper other people who are like just critical anyway and not supportive and have no spontaneity. And, think about the people who have, it's like when you were in school, you got shamed out of being creative. When I was in school, I got shamed out of singing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty common thing that some part of your spontaneous self for most people who are over 15 years old have had some creative monster shame them. And maybe they don't even know they're doing it, but it sends the spirit part of you away, and your creativity is where you connect most with your spirit. So
absolutely. Just,
really have to take a defiant kind of draw a line in the sand of, no, you can't have that part of me.
Yeah. Well, it's inherent. As we talk about, it's like your spirit, your intuition is what creates. It's what creates your experiences. It's what creates your world. It creates everything. And it's inherent. Sometimes I find with my clients, with people, even with myself, that a lot of times we'll overlook where we are creative because it's not, being really good at drawing or being naturally musically inclined. Like there can be this kind of archetype of what an artist is when, if you can shift your perspective, it's like there's art everywhere.
And that creativity is your art. You're the expression of your spirit, whether you're making a beautiful meal or you my sister Cookie used to say that her creativity was she did laundry better than anybody.
She did. She did. And you know what? Honestly, every single time, because for a short period of time, I stayed with my Aunt Cookie. She taught me how not only to do art, of ironing, of folding a fitted sheet. I know how to fold a fitted sheet. And it is truly, the way that she does it is such perfection. I still am learning, but it is creative because she came up with her own way to do it. But you feel it. So it's even just expanding your perspective of what it means to be creative.
And artistic.
When we validate. Exactly. I'm thinking
like
of a
everything
gentleman.
Can be an art. The way you live can be an art. You can approach it as an art instead of a burden.
Totally. I think of Nana, who not only loved to sew, but outside of that, how she dressed herself every day. Yep. She loved to put together these beautiful outfits with her little babushka and her little clear heels and her purse, that she was a work of art, and she was stylish. She wasn't like, in some ways like an Anna Wintour, like a fashion, those different.
It was very warm and fun, even whimsical, even.
Yeah. And how much she enjoyed, how much she loved putting it together. That was her art. And it was felt because when we're really creating from that space, it's something that you love. When you create, it's like whether it's a dinner or folding laundry.
Well, and that reminds me of my dad. He loved to create a neat house.
Yes.
He could have been a butler. I swear he was a butler in a lot of past lives. He was lock it down because he delegated a lot of it rather than did it himself to us, his 7 children. But that house was locked down neat. And he took a lot of pride and satisfaction in the order and in the beauty it created. So that was his art. So I think everybody has one. Think about yours or mine. Mine is writing. I love to create with words.
Your art is writing. Your art is also, it's like, I don't want to say like public speaking because it's not even that, but sharing from your heart, whether it's in teaching, whether it's in storytelling, whether it's writing, there
Mhm.
is such a part of you that I just even see comes alive. Like I imagine, I always think of you something at the dinner table when we're sitting around and telling stories, and just how you share is such an art form. Now,
Yeah,
it
it's
doesn't have to be complicated.
yeah, this is what everybody that comes, you can tell your art by what just flows through you without thinking. Like when you do your music and your kazoos and you create celebration and you create gatherings where people can actually just be spontaneous and have fun, that's an art. That is an art.
Absolutely.
And people feel generally because of the shame, the walk of shame they had to go through life just trying to do anything spontaneously, that create an atmosphere where you can relax and not be self-conscious and let yourself have some laughs and have it not be, drug or alcohol induced, because that
Yeah.
gives you permission, but just be yourself in a natural walk in the park. That's an art form.
Absolutely. And even, it's like we have the people who may have shamed us. Like, I think of my French school. I went to French school, if you're a listener, and there was a right and wrong way to do things. So my coloring, if you had to color horizontally, I would color vertically. And so that got into me of, you're not good at art. But the other thing is too, it's often sometimes I can find my own intellect, like that says, is this good within the process, that tries to edit, that often looks at what I'm creating from the outside of what will other people think?
Yeah, it's
What are
really,
other people's judgment, instead of, does this feel good?
yeah, I feel like, you know, I learned to give that up, because when I did things that would earn other people's approval, and I learned this in college, when I would write papers that would earn college good grades, I didn't like them.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny that
I hated
it's
them,
true.
actually.
And you know what? My mom, you just took you just
I was
did
taking all those.
another degree. You just did another master's class. Like, you're from DU, and boom, yet again. I remember when writing those papers, it was like having that same flashback of, I hate the straitjacket restrictions that is inhibiting my creativity.
They weren't creative at all. They were just regurgitations of what everybody else said, that I had
Yeah,
to quote properly and validate others. And so it's why I have quite a rebellious streak in me, because I don't feel that it engenders you to be terribly creative. I think it's a creative killer, actually,
totally.
to do anything for the approval of others. Definitely is creative sabotage.
Hello, my sweet friends. It's Sonia Tully. And here's one thing I know for sure. Your head and your heart are meant to be the best of friends. And when you live life inside out, your head and heart are one. Being an intuitive, connected soul is all about remembering who you are and uncovering your gems. It is my mission to help you trust your intuition so that you plug back in and reconnect to your authentic self. Check out my soul readings. We'll look deeply at your soul lessons and find your purpose. We'll answer your big burning questions like, what is holding me back in life? Or what's the right job for me? We'll look at what's going on for you right now and give you grounded steps to bring your life into alignment with your true self. There is nothing more that I love than helping people live spontaneously and awaken their inner guide. I can't wait to help you come home. Visit my website, soniatully.com, to learn about the ways I can work with you so that you'll dance through life with clarity and confidence.
And will leave you feeling insecure, because what you're doing is we're not connecting to our spirit. That's what we're in our heads with our barking dog. We're in the place of judgment that disconnects. So even this, as I was saying earlier, this past week, I really recognize these two channels. I am crafting my first Mardi Gras headpiece, and I'm very excited about it. I'm doing where my neighbor, my bestie Paulina, and I are dressing up, and we're mirrors of each other. So we're building these two little houses. Paulina was like, we made it out of cracker box, and we were paper macheing. She comes over, and I'm not very good at paper mache. And we're sitting down, we're listening to music, we're starting to paper mache our box, and she's swimming along. She is in the groove. She's applying those strips. They're so smooth. And was just struggling. Everything looked lumpy. It looked bad. I wasn't doing it right. I didn't know the newspaper. And it was interesting because I was like, I have to keep going until I realized how tight my jaw was, how tight my body was, because how much I was judging, and like that old pattern of, is this going to be good? Everybody else is going to be better. What am I doing? That old overlay came zipping back in, and I had to stop. I stopped for a minute. I said, look, guys, I am recognizing that I'm not having fun, that I'm not enjoying this process, that I am in my head. So I need to take a break. And I mean, I was laughing, but it was serious. I was like, I'm going to ruin the box. It's going to be bad. Paulina's going to be so much better. It's at the same place of comparison. And so I just noticed the chatter, right? One really big way that we can tell if you're in your spirit or if in your head is how your body feels. Right. When I'm in my head, it's like it talks a lot, it's tight. So I just took a breath, and I was like, I'm going to just take a break. First, I started ripping all the paper mache off, and Paulina was like, no, don't do that. Don't start from zero, because I went all or nothing. And I just sat and took a minute and connected with my own little pat, my ego. And I was like, it's okay, honey. Don't worry. And you know, the other beautiful thing, then Paulina said, I love to paper mache. Let me help you. And she is another big sister and went into full big sister mode and helped me complete my box. And it's just so interesting of how quickly you can, I can switch if I'm not paying attention, and whether or not I go from my head of personal will, I'm going to muscle through this and hate it, versus spirit that says, ooh, let's take a pause and be in flow. And how it shows up, help showed up. And I'm like, you're my little earth angel right there. My help showed up.
And the point is also, I'm so glad you caught yourself and help showed up. And that the point of anything, ultimately, what if we change our value system is not to impress or win approval, but to just express and have connection and collaboration. I mean, I think that, I mean, that is the one thing that I did learn from observing my mom, is that she would head dive into anything that she needed to create without giving it much thought.
Yeah.
She said, I'll learn as I go. I mean, I remember her one time wanted to have, it was for Mardi Gras. They were celebrating a Mardi Gras with my older sister who was in high school, and she wanted to go. And she took an oatmeal box and covered it with tinfoil and then put sequins all over it.
Really?
And she made a hat. She made this beautiful hat. Everybody thought it was like some designer department store hat. And it was literally an oatmeal box with tinfoil and Elmer's glue. It was quite interesting. She would let it be tacky and then put on it was quite, but I learned from her how much fun she was having.
Yes.
And that creativity is, she would say, I do this because I've talked to my spirit. My spirit tells me how to create and what to do and make suggestions. So I'm collaborating with my guides. She would
ultimate collab.
Yeah.
The ultimate collab.
I really do think we need to encourage everybody listening. And I read this actually once. I can't remember where. But if you don't have an art, your soul has no voice. And I remember thinking that is really true. It is the expression of your soul, not the expression of your intellect, not the expression of your, mental skills, but of your soul. So and what is art isn't necessarily, like we were saying, producing some classic fine art to hang on a wall or a piece of music. It's an expression that is creating beauty of some sort.
Yes.
Beauty,
yes.
It could be create the beauty in the laundry, create the beauty, the art of making meals, the art of designing your home, the art of dressing. That was one of my mom's arts. The art of expression and storytelling, the art of creating kazoos and creating a party and creating a moment of celebration.
How about a beautiful garden? If you plant, how about, that's an art.
Like Sufi already, she's only 4 and she plants her garden. She was looking out the window today saying she wanted the fairies to come back because she was ready to plant some more flowers in the garden. She was singing Rain Go Away, and I want the fairies to come and plant. But she was telling me, I want this flower and that color, and already, so it's natural to us.
Totally. I mean, you could even say, even for me, what I see people who are really good at planning, maybe you're very good at logistics of putting together a puzzle of a day or a vacation or a dinner party. That's an art form.
I know.
I
have a client that I've been mentoring now for about a year and a half, and her art form is planning the family vacation for the extended family. I mean, there's a good, over a dozen of them going, of 4 or 5 generations of people, and she plans this thing for months. She loves it. I wouldn't be able to do that.
No. And within that, of expanding what our concept is to be an artist or to create art, it's not a tiny peephole of having to perform.
No, it's your spirit talking through you. It's your spirit that is here to be creative.
Yeah, inherently.
And having fun.
Yeah.
It's your spirit having fun. It's your guides joining your spirit and having fun. It is when you are really connected to an art you love, even if it's digital or if it's computer or whatever it is, if you lose yourself in it, that's, I think, a good indication that you lose your self-consciousness.
Right.
And you're just in the flow of the expression with no attachment to the outcome. Then you are in a dialogue with your spirit. And this gives you might get, while you're doing your art, it happens to me a lot that I get answers for other things.
Oh, yeah. Downloads. Just all of a sudden you get the download of, okay, this is the solution. I was just talking with a friend and somebody was asking me, like, how do you get confident enough to share art, to share your art? She was talking to me about my kazoo. She was like, I just, it's so cool. And like, how did you know? And how do you decide to share them with people? For our listeners who don't know, I create one of one kazoos called kazoo boos. They are little creatures. And in my lore, they come from the Bubble Nebula through a portal. And I love to craft them and give them out. It's my joy. My friend was asking, she's like, how did you know? And, here's the truth. One, I was sitting on my couch one evening many moons ago when I was on my journey to heal my inner artist. And I had a box of kazoos when I just had a little idea, wouldn't it be fun to put a googly eye on him? Wouldn't it be fun to use a pipe cleaner for arms? And that moment of curiosity, it wasn't for anyone. It was just, wouldn't that be interesting? Opened up a portal and a wormhole that has continued to today. But I never, in the beginning, until I eventually had like so many kazoos that I glued things on that I had to give them away, I never was doing it for others. I was just doing it because I enjoyed it. And the first time, I remember I had a batch that I decided I was going to give to a group of friends that I was with. And I loved creating them. And I remember I was so nervous. I was so afraid that I was going to share a kazoo. It's my very first kazoo. And everyone was going to say, what is this? This is so weird. So I remember walking up to my friend and just having to take a few deep breaths. And I was like, here, have this. It was only, there was no ceremony. It was just like, here. And then a brace of, oh gosh,
Expecting
I
judgment.
did it. Yeah, I did it. This is a share. It's a vulnerability, but boom, loved it. And that just kept going. And so when you create out of just what it is that you love, not approval, it naturally unfolds. And that becomes attractive. And in the process of creating, which means creating good things, creating all crappy things too,
Well,
you have
yeah,
a whole,
and
quote unquote.
I've written as many bad things as I've written inspired things. So it's really a matter of not being attached to the result and be more interested in the process.
Totally. Absolutely.
And I do have to say, though, my friend Julia Cameron once said to me, because I wrote my first book and it was quite the surprising success. And then I got really in my head about the second one. I couldn't write another one. It's like, how do I repeat that? What was really very serendipitous. It just kind of unfolded and landed in the world without any strategy on my part. And she said one thing to me. She said, you know what? Suit up, shut up, and show up. Don't need to be in the mood. Just do it. You show up and you do your part, and spirit and your higher self will do the rest. God will do the rest. And I have found that to be true. I have found that I can show up in the heaviest mood or not in the mood or burdened with life or whatever. But if I just commit to the process of, for the next little while, I'm going to do the creative thing I love, it evens out.
Totally. The intention of showing up. And that's where we have to reconnect with discipline, and not discipline as in, oh, you have to do this or you're going to be in trouble, but discipline as a devotion. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about the muses, about as a writer, that in that place of showing up, sometimes the muses show up, sometimes they don't. But the more that you're there, the more quickly we bypass and it's a practice, it's a muscle, and it is truly the connection to our intuition.
Well, I definitely think that if you want to sharpen your intuition, entertain your inner child, and bring a little more magic and spontaneity to your life, that the tool of the week would be to first reflect and see if you can recognize what is already your art.
Yes.
And let anything you lose yourself in and love count. It's not about what other people think. It's not at all even up for other people's opinion. It could be cooking, dancing, sewing, laundry, ironing, organizing your computer, planning a vacation, whatever it is. Recognize it as an art and an immersion with your spirit.
Absolutely.
And give your spirit a voice. And if you don't have an art, or you've lost touch with one, experiment this week.
Yes.
Ask your higher self and guides to help you. Get your art back.
And if it's that, you can do it privately. You can do it privately and throw it away. The whole job is, does this feel good? Keep going. And that practice will also train your pet. I love it. I feel like let it be bad.
Well, let it be bad. If you're really going to examine this analytically, you're just getting out of your left brain.
Totally.
You're getting into your right brain. You're getting into your heart brain. And with your doing art and you're using your hands, you're getting into your heart brain for sure. So you're just taking a break from that productive side of you, and you're getting reconnected to the inspired side of you. So I think the tool of the week is to reclaim your art, and it doesn't have to be one thing.
Yes. I feel like even more than our question, your tool we put into practice, create something.
Create anything.
Create anything. Go on an art date. Go be inspired. Go look at art. Go look at flowers. Go look at things books, whatever inspires you too. Feed your well. And if you've been sitting on something like a book I want to write, or I've always wanted to, do it.
Right, just or begin and
Yeah.
begin in a way that isn't about a test or it just see it as an invitation for your soul to speak up.
Love that. I love that. Well, how about you, Mom? What, got anything going on this week?
Well, I have begun my certification training. I will be in
So
that
fun.
for the next 15 weeks. And so that's my big focus right now. What about you?
Well, right now I'm in my own creative incubator. So stay tuned. But as always, I have a few spots for readings this next week and one spot for mentoring. So if you're interested in getting a soul reading, learning about your soul purpose, your gifts, getting your specific questions answered, come to my website and book a reading. If you're interested in diving deeper and want some mentorship, you can book a discovery call with me and we can see if working together is a good fit. So you can find all of those things in the show notes, and I cannot wait to connect with you. And as always, now we are here for our question of the week. Our question of the week comes from our listener, Sarah. And if you'd like to submit your question of the week, you can write us at itsallrelatedpodcastquestions@gmail.com. Like Sarah, we absolutely love to hear from you. Our question comes from our listener, Michelle. She writes, in one of Sonia Choquette's early books, you talked about Dottie, which was a purple dot, I believe. You said it was your spirit. I often see a purple dot when I'm going about my day. When I try and focus on it, it's gone. Is that my spirit? And how do I connect with it more?
Well, you're talking about my spirit guide, Dot, and Dot just showed up because guides don't show up necessarily in forms that we recognize. And it was just a beautiful energy. So you obviously have Purple Dot as a spirit guide. It's not your spirit. Your spirit is the breath you breathe, but it is a support guide for you. So you could just acknowledge it, talk to Purple Dot, say, I'm glad you're here. How can, I'm open to all support you can offer, and I'm available for downloads if you want to get my attention or direct my awareness to anything. And you can get a little bit more guidance with that in my book, Ask Your Guides.
One of my favorites.
And I would say, don't make it too heady. We often want to identify, is that my spirit? Is that an angel? And it's like, I would go to Shakespeare saying a rose is a rose is a rose by any other name. This is a divine force that feels good to you, that's showing up. Let it be, and let it be something. If it has a positive, uplifting energy, then allow and receive the energy. Make it that easy. Don't get too definitive. That's the ego trying to control it all, trying to get grounded in this territory, but just relax into the connection with Purple Dot.
I love Purple Dot. Exactly what you were saying. First, not letting the intellect play, because we really do end up going to a whole different part of our brain. It's a different language. When we're talking language of spirit, of guides, we're talking about a vibration that is felt. So before going to your head is that, go to your body. How does it resonate? How does it feel? Naturally, even from our question, when we connect to our guides, to our angels, to our spirit, it feels good and we get interested of leaning in. So as Mom so beautifully said, recognize it as so, building your intentional relationship, and talk to Purple Dot. Talk to Purple Dot, ask Purple Dot, and see it as a way that one of your gifts is clairvoyance. It comes through a seeing portal. We have all 4 gifts of clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. But sometimes people have something that's stronger. So just even in accepting that and seeing it as such, that instantly entrains our ego and intellect, our pet, to be in service when we validate, this is my higher self. These are my guides. These are my angels. It's not up for debate. And truly, everything starts to organize and relax. And last, I'd say maybe get an altar.
Well, and I'd say get a piece of paper and a purple marker and just create a Purple Dot.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Just color a purple dot and see what else comes through.
I love that. I'm imagining having purple dots like all over the house, of just even having the little purple dot in your pocket and being like, all right, purple dot.
Purple dot in your wallet. But it creates a connection to the subtle energies that are getting your attention. We are multidimensional, and we are expanding and reactivating our awareness of the energetic field. It shows up as the clairs, as Sonia mentioned: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. There's even one for the nose. I don't know what that is.
Really?
Yeah, I was reading about that, but I think it's just the ability to perceive things in the subtle field. And we're just learning. It's kind of like the adventurers who got in boats and went out on the ocean being told it was flat, and all of a sudden in a brand new world. So
whole new world.
Yeah, don't be too mental about it. Just have fun.
Yes. And be creative.
Right.
I love that. Thank you so much, Michelle, for your beautiful question. As always, you can write us at It's All Related Podcast Questions. You can message my mom on Instagram at Sonia Choquette, me at Sonia Tully Official. We love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please, you can help us by rating, subscribing, leaving us a comment. It helps us more than you think. And we are so grateful to have you as a part of our soul family. And Mom, I love you.
I love you too, Son. Thanks for everybody. Be creative. Make your own Mardi Gras hat.
We sending you all our love. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.